All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
I walk a lonely road, the only one that I have ever known. Don't know where it goes, but it's home to me, and I walk alone. I walk this empty street on the boulevard of broken dreams, where the city sleeps and I'm the only one, and I walk alone. I walk alone, I walk alone. I walk alone, I walk up. My shadow's only one that walks beside me.
And welcome back to Hour 2 of tonight's X Zone show, coming to you from the broadcast center and studios of Relmar McConnell Media Company in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And you're listening to us on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streamed around the world on classic1220.ca. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@classic1220.ca, and I get back to all our listeners as fast as I can. And thank you for your emails from all over. It's great having you as part of the X Zone Nation. My guest of the second hour of tonight's show is Craig Webb, and he is in Montreal, Quebec. We're going to be talking about dreams, lucid dreaming, lucid living, compassionate communication, creativity, biofeedback, and other technologies for personal growth. What else can I say about my friend Craig? Well, let's see. He's quite a guy. He has joined us many a times. He is also a widely traveled trainer and musical artist who has done pioneering lucid dreaming research at Stanford and designed peak performance devices distributed worldwide. His book, The Dreams Behind the Music, reveals a little-known dreams that inspired tremendous success for well over 100 famous artists and highlights principles and techniques for anyone who can use and harvest their own dreams and, come out with significant breakthroughs. Joining me now from Montreal is Craig Webb. And Craig, welcome back to the X Zone. How are you doing? I understand you've got quite a bit of storm going on down there, or you had one.
Yeah, it'd be perfect for hibernation, getting some deep, long winter dreams here. I think 8 inches today. What happened to that thing called global warming, summer, and all those good things we're supposed to get?
Well, you know what, Craig, it was pretty quiet and pretty warm at this end of the 401. But tonight, started snowing. We're expecting freezing rain, and it looks like winter is back to give us another kick in the teeth before we get back.
Do you think it's like eclipse energy or something?
You know what? A lot of people have asked me, Rob, what do you think about the eclipse? And I say, well, that's another eclipse. Well, aren't you excited? No. Don't you think anything weird is going to happen? Oh, yeah. A lot of people are going to be paying a lot of money for hotel rooms and all the gifts and everything else that goes with a tourist attraction. Not only do we have the falls down here, but now we have the eclipse, and they're expecting over 1 million new visitors here. Hotels have been sold out for over a year for this weekend. And the Niagara region has placed itself into a state of emergency so that it can deal with the onslaught of tourism that is expected for Monday's big event. And you know what?
You're right in the heart of the where you see the full eclipse for 15 minutes or something.
You know what? I think it's about 13 minutes, 15 minutes. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the smart thing. I'm going to go into my living room, or if I'm called into the studio, I'll go into my office, turn on the TV, and watch it safely from the comfort of my own chair, whether at home or whether at work.
Well, you'll save your $150 on the special glasses, I guess.
Yeah, and there's something else that people do not know, that not all these glasses that are being sold as eclipse glasses are actually that protective. They say that if you look at the sun for more than 2 to 3 minutes, 3 minutes maximum, you've got dye damage that can't be repaired.
Yeah, mess around. Pretty key item. I mean, here's
Yep.
a little trick from friendly Montrealer. If you want to kind of cheat out on the glasses, or if you're not sure if your glasses are safe, just take your iPhone in selfie mode and look
Yeah.
backwards at the sun.
Well, here's a better idea. Just go down to the Sir Winston Churchill pub and have a nice cold brew while you're watching it on TV.
Oh my goodness! You know all our little like hideouts.
Oh man, I don't forget. Big Larry used to be at the door at the Sir Winston
my
Churchill.
gosh.
Going way back when Steve Faragelli had his bar
as long
there.
As he
and
never got kicked out.
No, I never got kicked out. No, it was kind of easy. It was kind of really neat there, and I always had to behave because back then I was in the police force, and you
Right.
really couldn't do anything wrong. And we used to go to Steve Faragelli's bar, and he had the barber chair there that you'd tilt back, and he'd mix a B-52 in your mouth, and then you sat up fast and swallowed. And then
There's all
Carl's
kinds of
little
fun drinks you could do that too.
Carl's
Just
little
like
restaurant, right?
kamikazes or other shots off the bar and things.
And then you had Carl's little hot dog and hamburger stand right next door. And, they had the best hamburgers going. It was just heaven. But anyway, I digress. How are you?
Good memories. Good memories.
Yes.
Great. Well, I'm excited for, I guess, all the things in our world. Maybe a little more trepidation about all the challenges in the Middle East here. But I always encourage people to connect with your source of true news, the internet of dreams. And sometimes they'll guide us, protect, perhaps even like work out some kind of invisible networked plan where we can at least personally and maybe collectively grow greater peace. One of our big dreamers here that I often champion is actually Gandhi. And, he's what I call an applied dreamer.
Very, very,
I like to mention,
very good man. Yes.
The gent.
Mm-hmm.
I think his son actually also won a Nobel Prize recently. Grandson, excuse me. So that's an interesting Arun Gandhi.
Is there anything new, thrilling, and exciting in the world of dream technology or dream investigation or understanding dreams?
Yeah, I got to find one for you because I know you often ask for latest on the news.
Yeah.
This is a very X-Zone-y sort of show news piece. But there's a man from Siberia, I think in July, but the news came out more recently here, who actually took a drill, drilled into his own skull, at home, put a microchip in there to try to control his dreams. And he said he had a little bit of success before he was rushed to the hospital, almost losing most of his blood. But he was really positive on it. So I got to give him a few marks for not like going completely bonkers or whatever you do when you drill your own skull. But don't try this at home, kids.
No.
And I can't really say that that's going to be a mass-produced item or anything like that.
What are you talking about? The drill, the bit, or the chip?
Maybe the whole process. How about?
I can just see his wife saying...
The chip might be if Elon Musk and team there at Neuralink gets there.
No,
we're going to start to get inserted little chips that can guide different functions. So maybe lucid dreaming or other dream recall or something could be a future there. But for now, I think we'll keep my skull closed. Thanks.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I can just hear his wife saying, Boris, I told you you had a hole in your head. You didn't have to do it.
Yeah, right. And me, I'm already worried about my brain falling out my ear. It's so small.
It's fun.
A hole in my head. That's risky.
Is it possible he could have given himself a lobotomy?
Yeah, well, it strikes me the story's a little bit tough to... I sort of report what the Siberia news reported. But come on, like you actually drilled your own scalp and you were able to you had time to insert a chip and later go report it to the media and then the hospital. I don't know. It's a little stretch there. But there's a story of some keen subjective scientist who thought he would do DIY his own brain insertion.
I don't know if you can really call him a scientist. An idiot would be a better word. But...
Oh, okay.
Okay.
A scientidiot.
Yeah. Every one of
Something
those.
like that. A little more, I guess, like research lab. They've actually checked that a new research on animals that dreams is pigeons. And it's a bit tough because birds are pretty far apart from humans on the evolutionary sort of chart. But they do seem to have like NREM and what's called REM dreaming states, and they have eye movements, and it's tracked during their REM eye movement or REM sleep state, which is often where we have our active dreams as human, that they are moving their wings and they're sort of scanning visually like what they would do during flight, and their pupils are reacting like they would emotionally during mating or during, I guess, fighting or stuff. So we believe from the physiology that they might be having dreams kind of like us humans. Interesting.
Is it possible they were having seizures?
Well, they probably had that. We didn't have any drills with the pigeons that I know of. It was all infrared, like cameras. But yeah, you never know. We'll have to talk to the pigeons afterwards, who are trained to sort of sleep on cue. So maybe they had some weird cycles going on.
During the eclipse and the events leading up to the eclipse, is it possible that what is going on astronomically could affect the dream states and the dream patterns?
It's certainly possible. Anything's possible. Certainly seasons affect people's dreams.
Yeah.
Incredibly and deeply affect people's recall, affect night terrors and other types of sleep disorders and things. So I guess nocturnal cycles could. It certainly affects some of the electrical. There's like electrical fields in the day with storms and big snowstorms like we had, and then of course eclipse would also affect that. I think what people might have more. I haven't really heard of any effects, but the eclipse is still a week away. But I haven't. Is that the news and the excitement and maybe the neighbors and talking about it, that could do something, the emotional impetus. But let's wait and see in a week or so.
Craig, does the Bluetooth and the microwaves and the cellular phone transmissions have anything to do with dream patterns?
I haven't tested those specifically, and I don't know of any studies, but I have seen research on sort of light, 60 hertz light, which is kind of our fluorescent lamps here, which are flickering on and off. Not the incandescent bulbs, but LED or fluorescent lights. And physiologically, it actually is for kind of using biofeedback devices, which pick up different skin signals. It's actually quite a challenge to remove the 60, or if you're in Europe, 120 hertz. Other 50 hertz, excuse me, in Europe, from the skin, because the light's actually creating a state by its flashing on and off very quickly. Perceiving it, most people don't see the flashing, but the skin sees it, and the brain sees it, and starts getting the strange 60 hertz mixed in there. So I haven't seen the effect of a statistical study on dreams, but I've seen that it definitely affects the physiology quite strongly, which is why I encourage people, if you can, try to keep with incandescent lamps. Obviously lower wattage, save your power, but the fluorescent bulbs and some of these LED bulbs that they aren't like the constant on kind of LEDs. They can really affect our mood, our state, our emotional physiology. So watch out for those.
Craig, stand by, my friend. You and I have to take our first break. Craig, what's your website?
I love it when people connect with me. Please do. CraigWebb.ca. 2 B's there.
And we'll be back on the other side of this break with our special guest this hour, a good friend from Montreal, Craig Webb. He is a dream researcher. We're going to be talking about lucid dreaming, lucid living, compassionate communication, and much more. This hour, the second hour of tonight's show, here on the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, coming to you from the Broadcast Center in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on the X Zone Broadcast Network, and right now on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streamed around the world on classic1220.ca. Don't go away. Craig and I will return.
There's a battle ahead, many battles are lost, but you'll never see the end of the road while you're traveling with me. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Hey now, when the world comes in, they come to build a wall between.
And welcome back. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell, and you're listening to us on the X Zone Broadcast Network on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streaming on classic1220.ca. My special guest this hour is Craig Webb. He is a dream researcher from Montreal, Quebec, and his website is craigwebb.ca. That's CraigWebb.ca. Craig, in the first segment of tonight's show, I had psychic Mark Anthony on, and he's a medium, and he's he's called the Psychic Explorer, and we were talking about reincarnation. Is there any connection that you're aware of where dreams and reincarnation are interrelated?
Yeah, big time. Big time, big time. Well, I can give some examples, but we'll just talk generally a second. First of all, I find his name kind of interesting. I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah,
But he's one of the big musical dreamers in my book. J Lo's old husband, Mark Anthony.
No, that's not that Mark Anthony. This Mark Anthony was known as the psychic lawyer because he is a bona fide psychic. He is a lawyer, I mean. And he has even presented cases in the Supreme Court in the United States. And he's been doing the mediumship under the psychic lawyer, I think. Well, this is our, 35th year doing the show. And, he was one of our very first guests. And, he's still in there. And now he's calling himself, and the media is calling him the Psychic Explorer because he investigates all realms of the psyche.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that skill would make it pretty easy to sort of connect with the afterlife, maybe deceased and things.
Sure, but how does that work in your realm as a dream researcher? Have you found connections, or is there any documented research where there's a connection between people who claim to be reincarnated and any different or specific dream patterns that they have?
One of the most interesting, and it's I don't know how much statistical research there is in that because it ends up being quite subjective. And
right.
I don't know if it gets the funding for that yet. Hopefully someday it will. But there's an incredible movie all about it. And I believe that movie is now free on YouTube. So if people want to check it out, it's called Yesterday's Children. And that story about Jenny, I forget her last name right now, but a woman from U.S. who,
right.
was just living her life, and then all of a sudden started dreaming of this old town in Ireland, very specific dreams. And she's an architect, so she drew the street name, the church in a very special shape, and a bunch of things, and didn't think too much of it until she started looking around on YouTube and seeing pictures from Google Maps, and then getting freaked out when she started having a woman's memory from then. Long story short, she dreamt that in another life, apparently, she was a woman who had to let go of her children, even though she promised she wouldn't, but it was like family abuse kind of thing. And she sort of promised and broke the promise because she had to let her children go to foster homes, and then she died. So
oh my goodness.
In this life, she got the message, go back to Ireland, find the children, and heal it. And, that's a bit of a jump for the husband who's going to finance the plane ticket, take care of the kids, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But she did it, and they found the same street name, the exact steeple that she drew, and, they went to the old records in the church, found this name, Jenny. Now I forget her last name, but anyways, people can look it up. One thing led to another, and they finally found out that 3 of the children, I guess a few children, but 3 of them were still alive, very old, obviously. So imagine like a maybe 30, 40-year-old woman meeting her, 80-year-old children. Like it's a weird one. But it actually, they sort of took it as true, remembered, and there was enough sort of fairly, I guess, loosely, subjectively provable things of the drawings, the street names, the very specific townsfolk and stuff, that people trusted that there was some kind of connection. So I've seen many of those anecdotal. And then, the story, I think we've spoken about this on YouTube. There's the ABC story all about the young child who dreamt sort of night terrors. So it seems like past life dreams often come like up till about age 5 or 6. Maybe the veil's thinner before we get enculturated or something. But sometimes there's night terrors, nightmares, scary dreams. They come till age 5, 6 of previous existences. And some are slightly verifiable, like that one was.
I often wonder, and when somebody goes on to have past life regression, if the dreams that they have, if they believe that they are in fact reincarnated and the dreams are part of their recall, I wonder if under regressive hypnosis, if the recall would be the same.
Interesting. So like use hypnosis as the sort of the altered state.
Right, yeah.
I believe that's happened quite a bit. one of the researchers, Brian Weiss, you might have heard of him. He's a fairly well-known doctor, author. That was one of his ways of, I guess, helping patients. I know that, what's the other one I really like? The book is Destiny of Souls. I'm trying to remember the author right now. I'll come to me in a moment. But he actually did hypnosis, and very like scientific. Wasn't into any past life or anything that to him at the time felt woo. It started, I guess, because one of his patients kept saying, "Hey, could you take me to a past life? Could you regress me? Could you?" And he was like, "I don't do that. I don't even believe in it." Blah blah blah. But eventually, she convinced him once. He said, "Okay." And somehow he wasn't perfect. She got stuck between lives, but it was interesting enough. He tried a few more, and then they started getting some very interesting results. He tried a few more patients who were interested, and long story short, he ended up doing like thousands of regressions where he got very sort of statistical or semi-universal states and I guess realms and different I guess processes that happen in between lives state, and wrote a book about it, but from a pretty scientific perspective. So I think it's Newton, Robert Newton. I can't remember his first name, but Newton is the author there. Check out Destiny of Souls. So I guess over statistics you can show that kind of stuff, but it has to be an experience for each person to really believe it deeply.
We've talked many times about dreams and music, and how's the book going, The Dreams Behind the Music?
Very well, thanks. So, by the way, I just remembered the name of that young ABC pilot who remembered his life as a pilot in World War II and specific names of regions and corsairs and things he could never know. It was like a 5 or 6 year old. His name was James Leninger. So people can look that up if they want a really interesting story. But about the book, Eric.
Yes, about the book.
The dreams behind the music. First of all, my two passions kind of wed there, music and dreaming, lifelong passions. So that's kind of what motivated that project. And so I continue to research, explore, interview, find new stories. You might like one of the more recent ones. Have I mentioned to you about the Grateful Dead?
No, you haven't.
Well, one of the Grateful Dead, I guess the main band leader, Jerry Garcia, is hopefully grateful, but he is definitely dead and passed on. But apparently he comes to the sort of next in command, sort of the top band leader now, Bob Weir, who some of the listeners might know about, in dreams, sometimes discussions, connections, and brings songs. One specific dream that Bob Weir reported, Jerry was there, and he brought this interesting dog who was kind of unruly, couldn't really control him, but then after a while sort of, I guess, was tamed enough that he befriended the dog, and he woke up with a really great new song that I guess was the gift from the dog. And he said it also confirmed, first of all, for him it wasn't too much of a stretch to know that his buddy's died, he's helping him across the veil, he's grateful, and yes, this kind of thing can happen. But he also said it confirmed that I actually thought songs were sort of living creatures of some sort. They have their own existence in some realm, in this case symbolized by a dog, but it was sort of had its own emotions, its own being, its own identity, and I had to wrestle a little bit with it to kind of bring it into life, into physical here, and they recorded that song. So I thought that was an interesting recent one. Across the Veil, a musician got a song from one of his deceased bandmates. It's a little bit of a new angle, right?
Yeah. Who else have you done dream research on? Who is a famous artist that our listeners would recognize?
Well, many. I'll pick some of the more recent ones. These aren't yet in the book, but new editions planned for a September 9th release next year, which is 999 on the numerology folks.
Yes.
But I'll give you a little foreshadowing here.
Sure, why not?
Dolly Parton.
Oh.
She, on her birthday, actually, last year, she released a video. I think you can check her, I think it's Twitter account, where she posted a little video of a song she dreamt all about sort of God coming down to earth, kind of upset, and a bunch of things. And she sort of recorded and wrote and published the song and released that dream and the song on her birthday last year. So we have the story from the artist direct. And these aren't necessarily things we can prove, in a hardcore science, like measurement equipment kind of sense. Maybe if we had electrodes on, we could prove they were dreaming, but we can't prove that they met so-and-so, or they got this song that is the same one they wrote. But we could see maybe that their musical auditory brain part was activated. But we can trust them pretty much because the dreamer's a little bit risking their reputation sometimes on mentioning, hey, you know what, this whole thing came in a dream. Nowadays, I think it's actually a little more hip, and I think Taylor Swift said one of her recent songs, again, came in a dream. Ed Sheeran these big younger artists. I think a lot of people know now the pop artist. He said he got his whole verse from one of Taylor's songs. He was invited, I guess, to be a guest on that song or featured artist. And he said the whole verse came from a dream. So it's out there. It's growing. Do you ever dream music, Rob? You ever had any sound like either new or old, like well-known music?
I can't recall. I really can't.
Or sound?
Sound, yes. Sound, yes. But music, and I love music. Music is a big part of my life. And I really can't recall any dreams that had music. But what I will do when we come back from the break we have to take right now, I will tell you a story where I actually had an out-of-body experience while playing on stage.
Whoa. No, if that isn't a cliffhanger, I don't know what is.
Craig Webb is my special guest, Exo Nation. His website is www.craigwebb.ca. And he's got a great book out. Is your book available on Amazon, Craig?
Yep. Or just go directly to dreamsbehindthemusic.com, or just search that title on Amazon. And it's going very well. It's all 5 stars there.
Well,
people really seem to like it, so I'm grateful.
Congratulations, my friend. You're a hard worker, and you deserve nothing but the best.
Oh, thanks, Rob.
Exo Nation will be back on the other side as we continue from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And you're listening to the Exxon Broadcast Network, and tonight we're coming to you from your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streamed around the world on classic1220.ca. Don't go away.
There is freedom within, there is freedom without. Try to catch the deluge in a paper cup. There's a battle ahead, many battles are lost, but you'll never see the end of the road while you're traveling. Just close my eyes again. Climbed aboard the Dreamweaver train. Trying to take away my worries of today and leave tomorrow behind.
Welcome back, Exo Nation. This is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on the Exxon Broadcast Network, and we're coming to you on our affiliate in St. Catharines, Classic 1220, and streamed around the world on classic1220.ca. Craig Webb is my special guest, and his website is craigwebb.ca. Now, before we get to Craig, if you'd like to find out all about the Exxon Broadcast Network and all the other shows that we produce, they're all on that site. You can listen to as many as you want, free of charge. There's no surprises, nothing. The website is xzbn.net. And my second announcement for this hour is that early this morning, the X Chronicles newspaper was released online, and you can read your complimentary digital copy at xchronicles.net. That's xchronicles.net. This edition, just like every other edition, is 92 pages in full color, and the main story that we're carrying is, of course, the solar eclipse that is due to cross paths with Canada. The United States at Niagara Falls is one of the main spots. And to all the people who will be coming down here to visit, please take care, drive carefully, and obey all the signals and the law enforcement that will be there to guide you to safety. Just don't do anything stupid is what I'm trying to say. If some people go on vacation and they go ape for some reason. Have you ever noticed that, Craig?
I don't know if I noticed too many crazy apes, but then again, I'm not in St. Catharines. So
Craig, welcome back, my friend. We're talking about your book as one of the parts of tonight's interview with you, the dreams behind the music. I remember one story. Well, let's backtrack here. When I was young, I used to play in one of the first Beatle clone bands that did the Montreal Sorel circuit. We did weddings.
Guitar, singer?
Yeah, guitar. I used to do Lennon's stuff. I even had a vintage Rickenbacker with Vox amplifier.
Nice.
Yeah, I loved my guitar. It was my precious baby. So we were playing in Sorel at a motorcycle gang's, what do they call them? Club, I would imagine. And it was on top of it was in a big barn. The top floor had been converted into the club area, and the main floor of the barn was where the bikers used to keep their bikes, and they had a little mechanic shop there. It was really cool. And we're playing, and it's about the third set. You know, everybody's really winding down, and all of a sudden I saw myself playing with my other bandmates on the stage, and I was on the other side of the room.
Wow.
And till today, it's one of two things. Number one, an out-of-body experience. Number two, somebody slipped acid into the pop I was drinking.
By the way, it could be both.
Yeah, but like I was never one for taking recreational drugs, so we kind of scrapped that one out. And I really believe it was an out-of-body experience.
Yeah, well, let's say your perception, we'd say remote perception.
Yeah.
So your awareness of perceived the Rob, the body, the musician.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the song was? Because that'd be interesting. We are spirits in the material world. That was Police.
No, I really don't. We only did Beatle cover band songs.
Because the Beatles were actually big dreamers. There's a whole chapter, at least a good part of one of the big chapters devoted to Paul McCartney and John Lennon. And
Didn't
Beatles.
John Lennon come up with the name Beatles in a dream?
I searched around for sort of dreams quite a bit. I mean, deep search on internet for John Lennon and also for the Beatles band name. I couldn't find anything about the band name, but I did find some interesting dreams about John Lennon that are
Please share with us.
One I think maybe a little more known as Dream Number 9. Some people don't know the song, but avid Lennon fans definitely know Dream Number 9. He said the whole melody came kind of in a dream, and the idea of a dream number 9 came to him. And he really liked dreams. And I think one of his quotes is right at the start of my book, where he says, you really want to dream to get some of your bigger hits. So he had that. And then one of the most interesting and very little shared, but I think perhaps one of the most powerful, because many people now know that McCartney dreamt Yesterday.
Yes, yeah.
And now it's pretty popular because he went on to Carpool Karaoke and shared that he dreamt Let It Be, even though I'd been talking about it for 20 years. But there's a pretty little known one where both Lennon and McCartney had a powerful dream, pretty close to the same dream, what I call mutual theme, the same day while they were songwriting, I guess, over at Paul or John's home. And Paul had the recurring dream of digging up tin cans, rusty old cans in his backyard for a long time. So he had that. And that day he had the same one, except now it was like really shiny metal cans and gold coins, not just like garbage. He's like, wow, I had this very strange version of my recurring nightmare, but it was pretty positive today. I felt great about it. So Lennon said, well, that's super freaky. It's like, oh my goodness, Paul, that's crazy because I dreamt the same thing, man. And he had, digging up old cans in the backyard with gold coins. And said, oh my goodness, I don't know. We have this on the same day. And McCartney kind of adds a little footnote. He says, you could say perhaps it sort of came true because we did end up working together, had the same visual dream happen in our lives, and then we made lots of gold, Forgive my bad accent, Liverpool folks. But I like the idea that maybe a dream inspired their whole partnership to continue, because after Hamburg and some of their early tours, they're thinking, I don't know, do we continue the band or anything? But when they saw that there was this kind of synchronicity, maybe lots of gold in the future, and some of the great songs that came in his dreams, they said, yeah, let's do it. So there's a little known one. Have you heard that?
No, I haven't. But you see, I put a different spin on the dream and its meaning. When it was cans being buried with gold, right?
Well, that was the dream they had together.
Okay.
Before that, it was just rusty old cans. In the
Well,
backyard.
you see, rusty old cans, in my interpretation, would mean that they were working on a song, and the song wasn't right yet, and they couldn't put it in the can. And that's what you do with the recordings. You put them in a can, right? The masters.
Yeah,
So
back then it was actually like a big metal tin, by the way.
right.
Right?
Okay. So let's take the dream that he had between them, and the gold in the can. The record was a hit.
A gold song, gold record
Right.
kind of song.
Golden Slumbers.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's how I get it.
I like it.
yeah.
Either way, it kind of foretells some pretty bright future if they continue.
It does.
And what about them both having it the same day? Because that usually is a pretty strong wink to listen to the stream. Was that just luck, or what do you?
I don't think it was luck. I don't think it was luck. I think that there's a lot that has yet to be discovered, whether it is, ESP, whether it's, dreaming the same dream in the same day. Oh, in fact, didn't you tell me once about a couple that had a dream together?
Well, it's not actually too uncommon. Just
Yeah.
for all our listeners there, check with your partner, your significant other, or I guess the person you're seeing, especially if you sleep together. But even if not, it's because people who are bonded emotionally often have what I call mutual theming. It might not be like exact video copy of their dream from a different perspective. Once in a while it is actually, but mostly it's sort of a similar theme. The same character was there, or a location, like a setting, or maybe a strong series of colors was the same. And if you check, you'll find that it's actually like weekly. People are really surprised when they start checking regularly. But some specific ones. Yeah, one of my students said, I want to try this new lucid dreaming stuff that Craig has taught us, because I lead classes.
Yeah.
And he sort of tried a few times, and he said, I want to go and meet this other classmate. And they gave permission, so I can say her name was Mika. I want to go meet her in a dream and kind of do something crazy, and maybe see if we can get some proof here that mutual dreaming or combined dreaming exists. Long story short, he put his hand on the doorknob to put out the dogs in the middle of the night like he normally did, and the doorknob fell off. And so he kind of said, whoa, wait a minute, that's not a normal doorknob, this must be a dream. Flew up into the sky and said, oh yeah, I want to go visit Mika. Flew across, I guess, the atmosphere. Where was it? And he sort of got the idea, San Francisco. I'm not sure he knew what city she lived in, but that was correct. So flew over there, landed, and ended up seeing a street name. Said starts with L-E-L-A-L-E-A, something like that. I don't know the whole name, but that's what I remember. This old Asian gentleman. And he said, hi, do you know where I can find Mika? Don't forget it's a lucid dream, so you can control it a bit. And he said, oh yes, just down this road. And the old Asian man pointed him to go. So he flew down and noticed the number on the door, the apartment number 2, which has changed now, so it's safer. Went inside. Long story short, ended up finding a whole bunch of stuff that he verified, or at least wrote about and sent to me privately, even before contacting the other dreamer. I asked the other dreamer, in a sort of pseudoscientific way, sort of just getting their personal accounts. Hey, did you have any dreams last night? What's the address? What's the number on your door? Do you have a number? What's the name of the street? A few things I didn't even know.
Right.
And it turns out the street was, people can check this, Leavenworth in San Francisco. I don't even know that street, but apparently that was the right street. 2 was the right apartment. Some of the things located in the apartment were the same. The picture that he saw in the vestibule was an old Asian man. She goes, well, that's different because I actually put that in a drawer a week ago, but it is of my father who would have been awake then, and he's an Asian gentleman, just like he saw in the street. And a bunch of things that kind of corroborated, like, whoa, we had contact here.
Yeah.
So, yes, possible. And then about 2 weeks later, I won't tell the whole story, but she got so inspired. Oh my gosh, you can't just do that. She went and dreamt with him and had about 3 or 4 things that I corroborated that they couldn't have really known about. So mutual dreaming, let's say meeting in another state, and it saves on plane fares at least.
It sure does. And saving on anything these days with the price of gas going up, food going up, air travel is going up, everything is going up. And it's a great idea to save wherever you can, right, buddy?
That's what I say.
All right, stand by.
We've got economic dreams here.
Economic dreams. There you go.
Dreaming
You
for
and I
dollars. That's a good topic for after the break.
You and I have got to take our final break for this hour. Exonation Craig Webb is my special guest, www.craigwebb.ca. And we're going to continue talking about dreams, out-of-body experiences, and who knows what else. And of course, we have to check in with Craig about his latest inventions and his filmmaking as well. Busy guy. We'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here on the X Zone Broadcast Network, and we're coming to you from our St. Catharines affiliate. Geez, I forgot where we were. We'll be back.
She looks in the mirror and stares at the wrinkles that weren't there yesterday. Thinks of the young man that she almost married. What would he think if he saw her this way? She picks up her apron in little girl fashion as something comes into her mind. Slowly starts dancing, remembering her girlhood and all of the boys she had waiting in line. Oh, such are the dreams of the everyday housewife you see everywhere, anytime.
And welcome back. There's another one for you, Craig. GC.
I've never heard that one.
GC, Dreams of the Everyday Housewife by Glenn Campbell.
Okay. Oh, Glenn.
Craig Webb is our special guest, Exonation. He is a dream researcher. He's also a musician. He's an inventor. And he is an author. And he's also a filmmaker, a busy man in Montreal. His website, www.craigwebb.ca. And we're coming to you here on the X Zone Broadcast Network from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streamed around the world on Classic1220.ca. And don't forget, you can always go to the X Zone Broadcast Network at xzbn.net and check out all the great programming we have for you, 724, 365 with our compliments. Craig, you and I were briefly talking about something called Dreaming for Dollars. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, well, let's say if we follow some of what I have said, and as I try to follow what I preach here, that dreams can be applied in life. Not just what does a dream mean? It's a good question, but a bigger and often better for the community question can be, what does my dream want? Which hopefully and usually can lead to an action. Sort of like these artists from the book that I've mentioned, McCartney, Lennon, and some of the others, Diana Ross, and many others, including Sting, a big shamanic dreamer who's made like many, many millions from dreams, asked, hey, what does it want? And wrote a song. But it doesn't have to be a song. So the idea of applied dreaming can be taken action based on like an intuitive dream insight. Sometimes those are a little more obvious. So this one I thought you might like. This is a news feed of I think 2 weeks ago or 2.5 weeks ago. Patricia Harris from Massachusetts said, "Oh yes, very clearly. I dreamt 6 months ago that I won this lottery and the prize amount was $390,000." And how do we know about her dreaming that dream? Because a few weeks ago, March 14th, she went and claimed the prize for $390,000 in the Massachusetts lottery. So that starts to get kind of practical now if we have dreams. Now, I can't know for that story if she chose her numbers from the dream, but I do know of one lottery dreamer who actually 26 years before dreamt the numbers, I guess, for one of the lottos. I'm not sure which one. And recorded the numbers and just always played the same numbers. So he had to be patient, but then he won the grand jackpot of, I think, many millions, 47 million or something. So sometimes it's not like an obvious thing of when exactly how, but there can be some pretty interesting doorways for direct dollars. And then just acting on really strong, clear inspirations that have a great feeling. Our example is Larry Page. Not so many people know the name. Some of the webmasters out there probably know what one of the big things he created initially is called PageRank. It's a way to sort of gauge your search engine rankings, called PageRank. But that was the original CEO for Google. So we're talking 2 point something or other now, $1 trillion dream. and the whole dream that inspired, the DNA of the company.
Right.
Not
Speaking
the thousands of hours of work, but the initial seed.
Speaking about Google, did you hear where YouTube is taking over Google's podcasts?
No, I didn't hear that. Is that good news for Excel?
Well, what it is it's just going to mean there's more traffic on YouTube now than there was before. So, it really doesn't affect us either way, because we don't put our shows up on YouTube. We have our own channels for that. And Google, not Google, but YouTube was great when it started. There was a lot of information out there, information that you couldn't get from other sources. But now there's a
little
lot.
Side story for you.
Yeah.
A very close friend of mine, one of my, former colleagues, students also, for dreaming, was, giving a private yoga session. She's a yoga instructor in the Bay Area. And she said, one of her clients said, "Hey, do you mind if I just step out for a few moments?" She goes, "Sure." It was a private session and they're paying, so.
Sure.
The person came back and said, "Gosh, I'm kind of feeling tense in my body. Can we do a little bit of stretching or workout?" She goes, "Yeah, everything okay?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm just hoping I made the right decision. I just bought YouTube." It was the CEO, Larry Page, who's
my gosh.
for students. And he says, "I think it's a good choice." It was only something like 2.1 billion back then. Now it's
my lord,
hundreds of billions.
Yeah.
As part of Google. So interesting little side story. It was done during a yoga session in kind of a maybe quieter meditative state. The decision was taken.
That's a great story. And listen, you've invented a few things as well, haven't you, Craig?
Yeah, I'm fortunate to still be a recovering thinkaholic, but I use my physics degree in practical ways. I kind of combine it with dreams more these days. I have a sleep mask. I think we might have spoken about. It's probably worth a whole show, just dream technology. But a sleep mask that can trigger little lights or sounds while you sleep. It's called the Nova Dreamer. It was during the Stanford research and Lucidity Institute in California that helps people have lucid dreams by kind of giving little cues during their dream state. While we're asleep, the mask goes beep, 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 kind of in light language or in sound language. "Hey,
right.
Are you dreaming right now?" You can actually get your own voice recorded and have it play the recording.
But it
So
does
a little cue to help you go lucid. Why not?
Does it activate? Does it work like our smart watches, where it actually monitors our sleep patterns?
Yeah. Well, it has sensors. Otherwise, it wouldn't be good biofeedback. There is a version out there. I won't name it, but it's more like just an alarm clock strapped to your head that has timed triggers. That's not so great because our sleep cycles change quite a bit each night. But it gives little cues according to what the sensors say that's the most likely. And the data and the smarts, I guess the AI, back then we didn't call it AI, but the smarts inside the little program inside the mask actually came from many nights of sleep lab research showing when it was most likely for people to become lucid. And that's when the cues are sent. So it actually worked quite well, at least for people's initial dreams. So kind of a technology, our culture's language, let's say technology, science, for helping people have subjective experiences that are usually pretty cool, lucid dreams. I think we've spoken about those before.
When people go to a sleep clinic, how can the technicians know when the person is sleeping, not sleeping, but are dreaming?
Well, both of those are actually important for lucid dreams because you could lie there and fake like an eye movement. I just move my eyes left and right, which I just did right now awake. So that's easy to fake if you're awake. Not so easy when you're asleep because your mind and your visual dreams are happening, right? So you have to kind of prove, if you're going to make it semi-provable, they have to be proven to be asleep. And you can't really fake that. I mean, some people are pretty good, I guess if you're in the military or something. But mostly you have muscle tonus at all times, which means there's a certain kind of energy, little electrical signal, about 200 to maybe 800 hertz, depending a little bit which muscle, for those who are interested. But a little signal that's always going on in every muscle when you're awake, even if you feel relaxed. Let's say you put electrode on your chin, which we often do in the sleep lab, and you'll see a little kind of bzzz kind of signal. I'm making a sound of what's an electrical signal. But if that signal goes pretty much to zero, then you can prove that the person's asleep. Their consciousness is really left, the muscle is beyond relaxed. So if you get low, like almost zero muscle tonus, at the same time as you get a pre-agreed upon eye movement, let's say left, right, left, right, left, right, or some kind of signal, it's extremely rare just by random. then you know, hey, wait a minute, the person's actually asleep, and yet they just did this extremely rare signal that we agreed upon before they went to sleep. Oh, they must know that they're dreaming. So that's how lucid dreaming was proven.
Something I've
Interesting,
noticed.
huh?
Yeah, it is. You know, I
We should get you hooked up.
I'd already gone through 3 of them. Three
lab
sleep
recording.
slimmings. Yeah, because I have to use a CPAP now, and I have been for 3 or
sure.
4 years. Actually, 5 years. I'm sorry. And it was during one of the sleep lab clinics that I was diagnosed with PTSD.
Wow, from your years in policing?
Yeah, that's right.
Sure, I mean, pretty traumatic stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure you saw it like every day almost.
Well, not really, and I'd like to say that it was like that, but no. But when I saw it, and they were good years.
So there was a few episodes.
Yeah.
So you had to shut off some emotions that were locked back in there. PTSD thing.
Yeah. Something that I've noticed recently, and this might be maybe you can help me understand what's happening. I can be sitting down at home, close my eyes, and right away I go into what I consider a dream.
Nice.
And
So you're still aware of your surroundings, like the chair, the
Yep,
air, but
yep.
pretty deep. Just
yes,
almost like a hypnosis, we might say.
yeah.
Or something. Yeah,
Is would that be something like a meditative state I go into?
Yeah, the labels probably don't matter too much. Meditation would be fine. You know, you could say hypnosis, or you could just say resting peacefully, or some people might say daydream. You might not. The labels don't matter so much, but what ends up being interesting is what can we do? What could be a benefit of that state? Obviously, the restful part of it is beneficial. If we put electrodes on you, we'll see that you probably have lots of alpha, which is about like 8 to 10, 8 to 12 hertz, and usually with eyes closed for most people. I think 3 or 4 people or something like that. The alpha is much stronger, and that's sort of where we start to have a good feeling, relaxed, well-being, maybe start seeing visual imagery, etc. And then we can go into deeper states. Some of the delta and the theta come up, and then you get the snoring going, and that's like full sleep.
But it's
But
really
it could be practical for kind of creative states. Do you ever try to incubate or get to insights or new ideas for shows or guests or anything?
Yeah, I do, and they do come through the dreams, because if I have a problem, I'll just tell people, listen, let me sleep on it. And the majority of times, I'll solve the problem during my sleep time and start the next day off with a smile.
Well, that's good. Well, that can be even like more immediately, like within seconds, maybe minutes, but even seconds accessed in those quieter sitting, because your conscious mind is still with you a little bit. So you can kind of just nudge, hey, what about that challenge I'm facing with this work or this? And then within seconds, almost like a lucid dream, but not necessarily going the whole distance to have a lucid dream.
Craig, I hate to say this, my friend, but our time is up for tonight. As always, time goes by so fast. We'll have to have you back, because I do want to talk to you about your music and your inventions. So please, let us know when you're available. We'll get you back on. And until then, my friend, take care of yourself, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Always a pleasure, Rob, and wish you some musical dreams tonight.
All right. Thank you, Craig. Explanation, my guest this hour has been Craig Webb. His website is craigwebb.ca. I'll be back tomorrow night at 10 o'clock as once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. And we come to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. until midnight, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streaming 1220.ca. So until tomorrow night, my friends, always keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night, everyone.